In this video today, folks, I go to an estate sale and I come home with a large lot of goodies, treasures, jewelry, watches, and all kinds of things. In this video, I'm going to go through all of it with you and we'll see if it was worth the price. Check it out. Folks, you can see over here we got some carved pumpkins for Halloween, but I just got back. This is the first trip I've taken to an estate sale in 2 months, and good part of that, one part in the beginning was because I had already bought a bunch of things and I was slowing down on purchasing. But then now some things are starting to open back up again on a very limited basis in areas that were not heavily affected by Halloween. And so I bought this whole lot. This entire tub represents what I bought today. I paid exactly $300 for it. What we have is a old vintage tackle box with some lures and stuff. This is some kind of random stuff we'll look at, and then most of the rest of it is either a combination of like costume jewelry and watches and watch parts from someone, I guess, who either collected or did repair work. So $300 is what I'm into this. I've only very quickly scanned it and grabbed it because it's sort of a free-for-all. You just got to grab and go as fast as you can. If you think twice, someone else has got it. So I had to make an assessment very, very quickly, and I'm hoping that I can at least double my money. $300 is a lot of money, but for sourcing in like literally 15 minutes, $300 back would be pretty nice. So let's go through this together. I'll talk about what I find, what I think is throwaway, junk, might need repaired, or could be sold either individually or in small groups. Okay, starting off here, excited. Let's grab... where's the handle at? Oh, here it is. This is an old vintage tackle box here, an old Plano brand. I paid $25 for this and all of its contents. So let's pull back and take a look. What I'm hoping for here, folks, is that there are going to be a few items, lures or things that I can salvage and use that will be worth the money I spent. So I'm starting off. Here's a nice little one here. And this is definitely a vintage old one because you can see it's got the little eyeballs here attached to the top. Now, there's a little bit of condition issues. Some of that I can probably scrape off with my nail. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a Hedon brand or something like that. No, it's a Creek Chub injured minnow. That's what it's called. But these little metal spinny deals on the front and the back is also kind of an indication that this is an older piece, which is exciting. And I can already see some others in here. Let me go ahead and pull out what I think is worth looking at individually, and then I'll throw them down here and we can look at them. So what I've pulled out here are all the things that I think have either standalone value or small lot value. Now you can see there's still a bunch of odds and ends in here. A lot of this stuff is used. It's pulled out of the original packaging, not good condition, or really not all that usable or valuable. And so, some of this stuff could be used. We got like something to put a stringer, but it's got a little rust on it. A little, some things in here, but this is probably going to be just trash would be my guess. But some newer, I say new, not terribly new, but some newer because they're plastic and they got little beads inside to make noise, lures here. But then over here you got some older kind of like rubbery lures that are made to look like little pollywogs, little frogs. Those are kind of cute. I imagine somebody will use those. This is some lures for bigger fish, okay, than that. Some spinners, this and that. You got these smaller ones of various colors and sizes. They call these rooster tails, and you've even got a few in here of different colors. You got different color spinners. There's a gold one, yellow's speckled yellow, so that could be a little lot by itself. We do have a handful of these rubber lure, worm lures and stuff, but these, you can find these in large lots, all kinds of places. The ones that are sealed and have never been opened are kind of be the ones that'll be most attractive. Things like this little, Sonic Grub Bodies one here. You got a completely unopened, unused spool here for some fishing line. And then you got a handful of these like really nicer older lures. And see what this says. This is a hula popper. And you got some other poppers here, I think is what they're going to be called. What do we got? Well, can you... Come on now. Jitterbug. A jitterbug. Yeah, that's what we're looking at right there, the jitterbug. And you can see that it's got the eyes, it's simulating, you know, and we got a couple here of different colors. This one's a cool colored one. I showed that earlier with the little eyeballs and stuff. And then as you move over, we've got some old wooden bobbers here. Not plastic, not foam, but wooden. And then, you know, a few other unopened containers of things like lures. And you've got some little tiny like hook lure type things on the original packaging here, Lusk lures. And then another, you know, some more a spool of line. But for $25, being able to sell all this stuff and probably, well, let's call it 4 or 5 different lots of similar items, then I'll clean the rest of this junk out and I can sell this tackle box intact by itself as well. Now we've got this sort of container of hodgepodge stuff. We've got what's essentially looks like an ice pick here. This little wooden thing that I think is made, it's made out of cast iron. It's painted, it's made to crack nuts and stuff. So that has resale value for sure. Here's a little deal, very old, a wooden, I believe this is made, Okay, I was gonna say I thought this was made to put in a shoe and hold a shoe, the form of a shoe. Maybe that's what it is, but I'm kind of confused because this metal portion here at the bottom looks like a heel, like it's made for this to, I think, rotate, but you've got this hole in the middle here in metal, like a rod went to it. This might have been a part of a, like a dummy, like a mannequin or something. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to do some research on that. Probably will have resale value. Then we've got a couple of items here. This and this, I believe, especially this one right here, is what would be called an oyster knife. And this is what you use, stainless steel, to get inside of an oyster and crack it open so you can get out the oyster. So those will also have some value. And then again, I'm looking as I'm doing it, I'm finding what could be small lots of items. And you've got some snips here of varying kinds, some that like are spring loaded and need to be held in by this portion if we want to keep it the spring in, and I can't do it with one hand, but then we got a couple of these old snips. These are older ones. These are like the kind that I would buy and I would refinish them. I'd just clean them up. Some people don't like that, but if they're really rusty, I'm more able to get money from them if I do the work. This is Germany, something Brothers. So that may be a collectible brand. I'm not sure. We'll see. And then a couple, they'll probably go together of the same type as well. This pair and this pair right here. Okay, so moving on. What else we got down here? We got this is just like a little old deal that could has you know, what is that, like a hexagon? So you can open, unscrew or screw in a bolt or a nut on a bolt. And then you got on either side a flathead and a Phillips head screwdriver. So that's an old tool that can definitely sell. Here's an old thing of scissors. Also, maybe Germany, maybe China. I don't know what it says there. It says Japan, as a matter of fact. So those are all like cutting tools, vintage things we can use. Oh, look, here's the other one. So I've got two pairs of those. That may have been just made to hold in shoes, but that also could have been part of a mannequin. I'm not sure. Here's a little wooden carved owl. That's a little something someone could put on like a bookshelf. So that has some resale value as well. And then mostly what we're left with, we got this little thing of hearts. I don't know. Here's like a little, looks like a bow, like a little piece of costume jewelry or something, but it popped off of something, so it's not complete. And then you're left with some of these interesting rocks, these smooth rocks. Looked like they were tumbled. Looks like they were found along the ocean, maybe in Oregon or Washington or something like that. I don't really know what they are, where they're from, or what they're made out of. So I have bought and sold a lot of minerals and things. These just look like, this looks like a piece of slate with a hole drawn, screwed or drilled out through the middle of it. This stuff will probably either be trashed or put into a lot of similar items. The shoes will go together by itself, together by itself, and then I would say probably 2 or 3 lots. Like this is maybe a lot right there, and then maybe these go together. All right, what's next? Let's, oh, we got some costume jewelry. Let's pull out the costume jewelry stuff. Looks like there's some more here. And I think that's watch-related stuff. What do we got here? Okay, and then some costume, maybe some more, a couple of trays of costume. All right, let's get into some of this jewelry. So as I'm looking through this stuff, of course, I'm trying to figure out what it is, first of all. Is it costume jewelry or is it fine jewelry? If I suspect it's fine jewelry with real gemstones, gold or silver, I'm going to put it to the side for further review and testing. Stuff that's clearly broken, not very valuable at all, will be trashed. But if I think I can put it in a small lot of jewelry or things that people can craft with, that can go in its own lot. And then we'll move to smaller lots of similar pieces, like all brooches in a lot, or individual items if there's anything that's got enough value. So let's pull these over. First off, we've got some of these old, and they're not that old actually, you know, fans. And so these are kind of interesting. Someone who might want those. These, I'm not thinking that they'll sell for a lot, but they could have some value in and of themselves. Buy them in a small lot. Somebody might want them. So I'm going to put those over there. Here's just some thread, something. Probably not worth hardly anything. That'll probably be pitched. But you know what? We can put these in a lot together. That's fine. A nice little older kind of a costume purse with little plastic beads here. It's metal, and it says that it is made in Italy. So, you know, that brings the value up a little bit. This is a little bit more valuable than it would have been. Probably a little bit older than I might have thought at first glance. But whenever you have metal purses, on the inside of the purse, you always want to look around the edge on the inside, because if it's made out of silver or gold, a lot of times there'll be a marking on the inside or along the rim. Also, sometimes at the bottom if there's something, but this is, the only metal portion is at the top. At one time, this would have had a chain that would have hung from here up and over that you could put over your shoulder, but that's missing now. But because it said it's made in Italy, and the inside certainly looks older, it's got silk in here, that will be something to go up. Not going to fetch a ton of money for it, but it is worth trying to sell. Let's see, now we've got some, looks like some carved wooden, and I mean like rosewood chopsticks. Those are beautiful. Those have resale value. And then look at this. Here's some other chopsticks, but they've got some kind of colored you know, design on this, and then mother of pearl on it. So those are quite nice. These are, you know, reusable chopsticks. So again, those are beautiful. Maybe by themselves, maybe with that first pair. And then this is just a random little piece of wood. So that goes in the trash. Here's stuff like the other. If I get enough of that, maybe I could throw it in a lot. Okay, here's just a bunch of random, mostly wooden beads and stuff. Doesn't look like anything terribly valuable, but, you know, we may start beginning a lot of some beads and some stuff there. Okay, here's some kind of a metal chain. I don't really know what it's from, but this is going to go in the, I'm going to do further evaluation on it. So I'm going to drop that to the side. Here's some other beads, some glass beads. This is all for like jewelry making. And whenever there's metal pieces or flat pieces like that, I want to go in and evaluate and make sure that those aren't made out of silver or gold or something, or a gold field, because they'll have a different value. But I'll take a look at those in a moment. Let's just keep going. Here are some other beads and what look like pieces of coral and some synthetic pearl beads. Those drop over there. Here we got, just some random stuff. Looks like a kid put it together, to be honest with you. Some other like kid-related beads. And then here's some other random beads and stuff. So probably what'll happen is I'll put most of this back in here, and these will all go in like a very cheap lot, like $5 or something. I paid $10 for this box. So if I can get $5 from this and these, and then let's say $5 to $10, maybe more from the chopsticks, then this is still not losing money on this. I'm not making a ton, not as much as I will make on the lures and this. This was also a $10 box. But, so far, this was probably the most disappointing one so far, but we've got a lot more to go through. Let's just check this out really fast. So this was one thing I wanted to look at because it looked a little different than the other things in here. Here's another metal one. But based on the way that it's coated, it looks like it's just an alloy, so that's not good. We've got another little piece in here. It looks like a little, a little pendant or a little charm. It's a little cross. And even if this isn't made out of silver, this might have some standalone value because crucifixes and crosses sometimes have. So I'm going to keep that out. I'm not going to put that in. I put the little heart one back in there. Let's see if there's anything else interesting. Here's a little bar that could go on the end of something. I might keep that just for, like, if I come across a broken, pocket watch fob or something. Here's another little charm, but not made out of silver or anything. Oh, here's another little crucifix. Great, so now we've got a tiny lot. So that's nice. Okay, these puppies, I don't see anything else. Do I? Well, I do see one little a clasp here. Here's a little clasp, but it doesn't appear to be made out of silver, so probably going to go back in. We don't need to mess with that. That can go in the lot here. Okay, so these aren't silver, but let's look at this. So this is interesting. It looked old to me because it's monogrammed. This is very indicative of like Victorian era stuff. And so turn on the other side, nothing there. Oh, but look at this. What do we got here? What does that say? Mexico 925. And this is a fairly heavy piece. So this is a bead, but it's probably made as a pendant either for probably a necklace. But this is made out of sterling silver. So that was a good little find in that tiny bag of otherwise not really valuable stuff. All right, so we paid $15 for this, and we're gonna see what we find. So these are non-genuine pearls. You can see that they're very worn. There's no knot tied in between them, so that's kind of indicative. Also, these are pretty heavy. They're probably glass on the inside. Real pearls are heavier than plastic, but they're not as heavy as glass. And so, now how do I know that? Well, I've just handled thousands of both genuine and fake pearls in my day. So here's another one that's like synthetic, simulated. They're plastic. These are not actually pearls. Though that design, I have found antique ones that have that design that are genuine. So what I need to do is get, a bunch of this stuff seems to be wadded up and it's kind of dropped in here. As you can see, like I can just pick it up and pull it and put it down to the side. So I'll need to go through and separate that stuff and take a look. These are just made of wood. Those don't have any standalone value, but those could go into like a jewelry jar situation or something for crafters. Here's something that's made to, it's kind of greenish. It's plastic also. So like we got a set of earrings. I'm going to put earrings in pairs up here so I know what I got. Here's an older pair, another older pair. This is kind of made to look sort of like a pearl, but it's not. Here's a little marble. That's interesting, a little iridescent marble. I can pull that back here. It's a little different. Here's a set of earrings on here, Takoa, but I'm not even going to pull those off. They don't look like they're very valuable. Some more costume earrings. Here's one that's kind of damaged and broken. So, of course, I'm going to have to go through and find ones that are damaged. Always look on the back, on the little back end, to see if there's something written. Because sometimes you'll have even costume pieces that someone has put a gold or a silver backing on. And, yes, those still have value. Even if the jewelry itself isn't valuable, you can sell just those as replacement pieces for other people's earrings. Another little, so all of these seem to be kind of just costume pieces, not really very valuable or anything. Another a little bead here. Now here's interesting, a couple of little gold colored beads. Sometimes, folks, these can be gold filled or solid gold. So I do need to take these two out of here, and I need to put them to the side for testing. I need to test those on a scratch test plate. Here's some faux earrings, like their costume, of course. Put those back here. Here we got a ring of some kind. It appears to be made of metal, but something very heavily corroded. So my guess is, I don't know, what does it say? It says Thailand, something Thailand, 925. Okay, well, I don't know if I believe it based on how corroded it is, but if it is sterling, I can put this in a lot of sterling silver that's just sort of broken or not really good for individual use. All right, going back in here, we're just taking a look, pulling out earrings, things. Nothing seems to be that valuable. More just like very basic earrings and little, you know, costume pieces, more earrings, a very large earring lot. Here's some more of these beads, so I'm gonna have to pull those out because those might have broken off of a gold piece of jewelry, and the person selling these might not have tested. So I do need to test all of these. We've got a gold colored chain necklace here. Here we go. You always want to look at the clasp and see what it says on the clasp, if anything. Trying to zoom in here for you. Kind of a weird clasp, but it doesn't look like there are any markings or anything. And also the heavy tarnish and stuff tells me this is probably a pretty cheap alloy. Here's another necklace that upon initial appearance looks like it's sterling silver. So again, we need to look here. It would be denoted someplace on this claw clasp, most likely, if it is sterling silver. I'm not seeing anything on it. So this is going to be one of those that either it is and it's not marked, or it's just a really good fake. So I got to put this aside too. So what we're left with is this stuff, which is not really anything good other than bulk sales. But then look at all the stuff that I need to do further testing on. This little chain, this chain. I know these two are silver. I got to test 3 different sizes of gold balls, the big one, the tiny one, and then the brushed gold color in between. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gold colored chains, any of which, if they turned out to be gold, would maybe pay for this entire tub. This could be sterling silver, and then we've got this one, a little bit of a nicer piece that is made by the Avon company. Although this also might be just something I throw in into the larger box. But this whole container cost me $15, as you can see right there. And so, you know, between selling this by itself and the costume jewelry in a lot, and if any of these pan out, still we're making money. Okay, so we're down to this, I think is maybe the last of the jewelry. There might be a little bit more in there, but we'll take a look. We've got a bunch of things that look like, you know, maybe some earrings, necklaces, brooches, that kind of thing. I get this stuff a lot. It's a rosary, but it's very cheaply made out of cheap materials, that being light, like very lightweight plastic beads, and then the centerpiece in the crucifix, but somebody might want that, so that does have some value. Let's see, let's start over here in the stuff that I can see very clearly. So we've got a nice little chain here, and the fact that it has a little flat deal makes me excited, because it makes me think that this might be made of gold or silver. So let me see if I can pull this up, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. Because you see this little flat piece right there? Let's see if it'll zoom for me. Come on now. Well, doggone yous. Can we see it? Well, I looked it up and it does say 925 Italy. So this is a gold over sterling silver necklace with a gold over silver pendant with these little stones that might be diamonds. They might be cubic zirconia. I'll test it. But as the first thing I pulled out, that's a great little start there. We got some other stuff, look kind of costumey. This is made out of copper. And then you've got some nice little rhinestones, some Aurora Borealis stuff going on. But do you see this corrosion? That's no bueno. People aren't going to want that. So I'm going to have to see. It's also, damaged a little bit. So either some repair will have to happen or that will go in with some other bulk stuff. Here's a little necklace. It looks to me like it's probably made out of sterling silver, or my goodness, I can't speak today. Stainless steel is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, and I'm not seeing anything on here, so it's not silver, but it is a necklace. It's usable, so that'll go into like a lot of usable stuff. Here's another one. Why don't I just pull all of these out, lay them out, and then you can see what we got here instead of you having to watch me fumble over every one. So this is what they all look like laid out here. You've got some, various little necklaces here. You've got some with little pendants, but none are made of sterling silver. We've got some with some faux stones, some with some real stones. Even though this is on more like cord, I'm gonna have to test those balls because they could be made out of gold. Those round beads. Same thing with this brushed gold color one there. I've seen all kinds of things. People replacing stuff. Sometimes you get mixtures of precious metals and other things. Some of these could go in small lots, but I would put these in with like a lot of 5 different or 10 different necklaces. Here's one that's actually branded. You can see this little T right there on the end. That stands for Trifari. It's not a crown Trifari. It's a newer, more modern one. You got a little pendant here for cancer awareness and stuff. So nothing terribly valuable in this one, but again, could go in a small lot. Now we're on to this one. As you can see, we've got some little brooches in here, some cufflinks, and they look older. I'm kind of excited about those. Those kind of caught my eye. Maybe a vintage, maybe a reproduction of an old brooch there. Not quite sure how old. These all look mostly newer other than some of these cufflinks. So let's pull them all out and take a closer look. Everything's out now. So here you get to decide. If you were to just look at these, what would you think the most valuable one or ones would be? Which ones would you pull out and want to investigate more closely? I'm going to give you a second to look at all of these, and then I'll tell you what I think and what I would pull out first. And we'll do the cufflinks here in a moment. Okay, so have you had a moment? Take a look. Okay, so I'm just going to go through here and pull out ones that immediately I think probably are going to be worth a little bit more. We're going to go with this one right here. If this one had all the stones intact, I might pull that one out, but see, it's missing a bunch of stones. This one appears as though all the stones are intact, so I think that's nice. These two, provided their stones are intact, could be worth something. So looking at these two, they are either going to be actually original Victorian brooches or they're going to be newer ones. But we need to turn them over to the back and take a look to see. So first off, this doesn't have a C catch. It has one of these turn ones that locks it in place. And also on the back, do you see all that fine textured portion on the inside? That is not typical of antique jewelry. And so this is very much a bar pin that's designed to look like an older pin. This one here has got a little bit more of a luster to it. It's got a little bit of carving on the back here. Oops, same thing. It's just glued on. So this is a cheaper piece. It's maybe gold fill or gold plated rather, but it's also not an original old one. That's too bad. These though could go in a lot together, right? This is unique looking. I've never seen one like it. It's got a little tail made out of leather. It's plastic. And so this, because it's an animal, a beloved animal, and because it might be made out of Bakelite or an old plastic, I'm going to pull that out. This one here with the nice, attractive colored stone in the center, I'm going to pull that out. We're going to look and see what that mark says in the back in a minute. I've seen a lot of these. This is made out of wood, not terribly valuable. Now, these more bedazzled typically will sell. These pineapples, so I'm going to pull that out, but like probably not that. You know, this is an old Girl Scout pin right here, a Girl Scout or Boy Scout? I think it's Girl Scouts right here. It's a vintage one, but there's a ton of those for sale online. And then we're sort of left with some of these older, some newer, some older looking pins. So right here, it's Snoopy. That's going to have some value because of Peanuts, and people collect that stuff. This right here could be gold filled, maybe gold plated. I don't see a mark on the back, but we'll do a further investigation. And then we've got some of these old pins. These old pins, folks, by the way, can be gold filled or can be solid gold or even sterling silver. So you always want to look closely at them. This one says Mercy on it. And it's a nice pin. It looks like it's made out of copper, but that also has got an enamel on the front. It's old, so that'll have some value. Here's an old Glee Club pin from probably back in high school, maybe college days, or even middle school. And this could be gold filled, though I see no mark on the back of it. Here's one that looks more of like a silver tone with a triangle. I don't know what this is for, but it also looks like those are seed pearls all around the side, which is also a good indication. Oh, it is gold colored, so this could be solid gold or it could be gold filled. And it's got those seed pearls, which is really kind of cool and attractive. And all of these, folks, can be sold individually. And then here it looks like this is some sort of Greek symbol, maybe for a fraternity or a sorority. There's an X behind it, and then some sort of symbol in the front that I'm not familiar with. It's a brooch, a little pin here. But you can see the heavy corrosion on the back, which leads me to believe that it may not be solid gold, but there is also a mark on the lower left I can't make out, probably the manufacturer stamp. But we'll take a closer look at that stuff. We're just going to put things aside. In here, like I've already got with all of these, are things that require further testing. So now I've pulled out all of these old cufflinks. You can see I got two pair like this. I got a pair like this that are flat, like this that at one time held either a fake stone or a real stone but are missing. These that have little chips in them, either little diamond chips or something else, and that these two that look like they're for the Elk Club. And so not long ago at an antique store, I actually bought a pair of cufflinks for $5 that turned out to be solid 14 karat gold. And so they were worth between $200 and $250. So now that I've done that, and I know that the style like this, they can sometimes swivel back and forth, but the ones that have these large kind of nibs on the end and this middle part, like all of these are styled like. These were made, many of these were made during an era when making these out of gold, solid gold, or sterling silver, or gold filled was very common. And so I'm hoping that when I do some testing on these, or when I look further, some of these might be made out of something, more than just a basic alloy. On the inside, you see this kind of coppery goldish color. These were probably gold filled at one time, but they've just heavily worn off, and you're seeing the copper underneath. And this is, of course, a synthetic rhinestone. It's made out of plastic, some sort of swirl. Could be Bakelite, I don't know. But those definitely have sale value, but they're not made out of anything precious. So what I like to do is turn them over. This is what I do with brooches. This is what I do. I go to the clasps to look at those whenever I'm looking at bracelets and necklaces. I turn these over because sometimes, not always, if it's a precious metal of some kind, they will indicate that in a mark on the back. And a lot of people don't know to even do this. A lot of people would not necessarily even know what the mark was that they were looking at. And so you can find these things, folks, sometimes. So I'm going to flip these over, and then we're just going to go one at a time, and we're going to very quickly look and see if there's any sort of a mark. So on this one, yeah, so here's a mark on the side, and it says GLP Co. Okay, so I don't know if that's the acronym for the name of a company or if the GLP stands for gold plate. I'm not really sure, but these definitely look gold filled to me. But the other interesting thing is that the color of this medallion that is soldered on the top is a different color than the back. So even if the back is not made out of solid gold, it's possible that this top portion is. So I've got to test that in 2 different locations, of course. So here's the ones with the little chip. Looking around the side again, we're going to float all the way around. I'm sorry for my long thumbnail here. I've just been working, haven't had a chance to do that self-care. Kind of that star emblem in the back. No markings. There might be a marking in there that I'd have to clean out in order to see, but I'm not seeing anything. I'm definitely going to test those. I'm going to test all of these. Even if there's a mark, I got to test it to make sure. Okay, so here's another one. Definitely some wear up here. So again, it looks like probably a gold-filled set. This is the kind, for example, that swivels, like I mentioned. So these can swivel to the side. It makes it easier to put in the buttonhole on your sleeve, on your cuff, and then you can pop it back to hold it in place. So again, in the middle there, they have these sort of superficial looking prongs that have been pried up, and either someone has harvested that stone or they've fallen out over time. Okay, a few more here. So here's one that's that flat kind of shiny color. Sometimes even like lower carat stuff can tarnish a little bit. 9 carat, 8, 9, 10 carat can even tarnish sometimes, even though it's gold. Okay, so, well, look at this. Okay, so on the top here, look at this. Can you, see if I can focus in. Do you see how that says 10K with quotation marks? 10K. So this is either solid 10 karat gold, or this is gold plated with 10 karat. Now, who knows? That's why I've got to do further testing. But that's a good sign, though. That's a good sign. All of these are going in. Here's one that's a very, very shiny. Like this might be gold over silver. See if there's a marking on it. Not seeing any marking on the underside there. Not seeing a mark underneath of that either. So further test, of course. I'm going to pull these over. Okay, 2 more left. Oh, and look at this. Wow. Doggone look at that. 10K on that one. And you can see under there on that side, 10K again. It is possible, folks, that 1, 2, 3 pairs of these could be solid gold, or even some of these. So I'm very excited. We're going to put those in the bats that need to be tested. Well, I got in and started pulling all of the watch stuff out. All of this stuff from back here is watches, and when I did it, I discovered that I had 2 more containers that have jewelry-related items. So we're going to go through this. I'm going to pull these out because they're kind of in, jumbled messes, and we'll take a look at those, and then we'll move on to the watch items. Okay, so we got some interesting things here. This says made in India. It's just like this little colored box container, so that's got some standalone value. Most of this stuff's just kind of costume jewelry. We've got gold colored utensils like tongs and a spoon there. This one is a nice gold colored necklace, and it says 18 GP. Or 18 KGP, which stands for 18 karat gold plated. So it doesn't really have any value with the gold because it's plated, but it is functional. Someone might wear it. I could put that in a lot. Little things here and there. Here's a little collectible a pen, and that'll sell. Somebody might want that. Someone who owns one like that could be cool. Some little pendants. Like here's a little necklace. That's missing a couple stones. Here's a little pendant with some fake rubies on the eyes. That's plastic that's broken off. That's trash. Little Duck Dynasty stuff. I don't know if anyone's still watching that or following it, but maybe somebody wants that keychain. There's another little keychain with looks like it's set up to look, well, it might be silver actually in that, the way that's tarnished. So that's cool. Made to look like a mercury dime, I think. So that's got some value. And then look at this. Liberty 2006. It's in one of these pendants that holds it. And you turn it over, you can see it says copy. So I know this is a 10 mils of 0.999 fine gold, a $50 piece. Man, if that was real, holy goodness, folks. But it's not. Somebody still might want to buy it, though. That's interesting. And then we've got some other various things, a little crystal, little bird. I don't know if it's, yeah, it can stand up. Here's a little glass Buddha head bead. That can sell. A couple little pendants, costume pieces, a costume piece of a costume ring here, big bling ring. Nothing terribly valuable yet. We got kind of a couple of costume bracelets. This would be nice if it had the original fake pearl there, but I've got some pearls. I might just replace all 4 of those and then sell it. It's an older piece. It's got some corrosion on it, which isn't great. Here's another one earring, but this could go in a lot of crafting stuff for people. And then kind of moving over here, we went through that. This is, again, a kind of a newer made, not real valuable for it by itself, rosary. Here's a little thing somebody made. It's made out of glass and metal. So this could hang. Someone might buy that. That one's made out of plastic, though. Probably going to be trashed. Impeach Nixon. This looks to me to be too new. Doveco. This is probably a reproduction, I would guess. A little pocket knife here. That's not too bad. You want to open her up and look here at the bottom of the blade. Silver sword. That's kind of cool. And here we go, Camillus. So if I want to look up this pocket knife, I'd look up Camillus 864 in eBay, and that would show me all the sales. And it's in pretty good condition, too. So nice. Pocket knives always sell really well. Here's an old button, probably from a dress or a coat of some kind. Here's a praying hands pendant. Because of that etching on the back, I don't think this is probably gold, but I need to test it just to make sure. Here is a nice single, looks like it's broken off. It was probably a piece of an earring at one time, but you can see it says 925, so that's sterling silver with some cabochon garnets, it looks like, in there. Beautiful. Moving up here, we've got a pen of the Rolling Stones, collectible pen, old original pen. Things like that, and old t-shirts and stuff are definitely hot. Here's a plastic, ring. Probably not Bakelite, looks too new, but that might sell. And then here's a couple of things I need to do some testing on. An earring, a push pin, part of an old earring, and then another single earring that has some kind of mark here on, I don't see if we can even see what it says. It may say 925. Oh, it might say Germany. Is that what that says? Germany. It says Germany, and with that tarnish, my guess is it's not solid gold, but it does look like it has a genuine garnet in there, sort of a semi-precious gemstone. We'll test that anyway, just to make sure. And then my personal favorite is this double ring. And oh my goodness, folks, how hip am I going to look when I start walking around with this on? Am I right or am I right? And then, of course, the nice hand-carved, inlaid box that this stuff came in. A beautiful wood. So that'll be sold by itself. I paid $15. So for everything I showed you here, and the box and this beauty, which I may or may not be able to part with, I definitely think we're going to make some money on that. All right, $10 for this lot, and we just got several pairs of cufflinks, tie bars, little push pins, a little clip back here of a faux coin, little push pins, more cufflinks, all kinds of things here. Monogram stuff. We got a pocket knife that's monogrammed, some keychains, just a bunch of menswear. And then here's a nice monogrammed set of cufflinks and button tab cover things. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's either LHW or it's MYS. Not really sure. But, you know, all of these things, when they sell, we can sell these. Some that are not as, you know, I don't know, attractive or as common anymore, I'll put in lots. But some of these ones might, something like this, or maybe these guys on the horses or something might go individually. And then, of course, we got our nice little box that this came in, this little jewelry box. It does say PDH on the top. That's the monogram portion, but it's a nice wooden jewelry box. It's attractive enough. Somebody will want this. All right, now I'm not going to waste your time pulling out everything and let you see every single thing in here. But you can see that we've got a lot of just various old watches, watch bands, various pieces in here. As you can see, some might be working, many probably are not. Probably a lot of quartz watches in here. We've got what is this? A Gruen, okay. Some probably some gold-filled bands in here. It says Hong Kong, so it's probably not. But I'm going to go through here. I'm going to pull out, and I'm going to kind of try to set them out, separate watches that are complete with bands, watches that have no bands, bands by themselves, and then other accessories like crystals or crowns or various other things. I can see here's a box that says crowns right on it, and then in here we've got got a bunch of pocket watches, and then other things like in here. This is like an old a crown kit. So you've got these are the part that you twist on the side to set the time and the date and stuff on watches and pocket watches. So we'll go through this stuff, see what all we have. We got these, and then this container, I believe, is mostly new, what they would consider new old stock crystals, which is the glass portion that goes over. Oh, I got to tell you that story in a minute. In here, and so what we got is a bunch of these. They're individually packaged, and this is glass. It's a crystal, and this is the dimensions. American Perfect Crystal Corp. Number 157. It's a 1 3/4 inch by 1 3/4 inch around. And I wonder if they have the thickness on there. That'd be important. But there's a ton of these, folks. And I don't even know what all's in here. Here's one that's just flat. It's just a flat plate of glass, maybe. So interesting. Maybe those are for like larger clocks or something. Well, we'll get into it. Here are all the pocket watches. Unfortunately, they're all in very bad disrepair. They're either missing the crystal or they were cheap enough that they didn't even have glass. They were plastic in the first place. But in order of least valuable to most valuable, we've got these Reliance West clocks. I've not tried any of these to see if they work yet or not, but we've got more West clocks, New Haven, Even Bright, Ingraham. Some of these, and they're kind of cool, these yellow colors. Maybe you could steampunk stuff. Someone could use them for you know, artistic stuff. But then you've got some others, New Haven. Here's an Elgin, and then a nice old Waltham with no crystal. Also no hands, unfortunately. These are porcelain faces. So that's nice, but I'm guessing they're not working. But it's possible that I could take this case, and the case itself has some value. It's possible I'll get inside there and find out that it's made out of sterling silver or something. I'm not expecting it, but likely what's going to happen is all these are going to go up in a lot or two lots just for parts of repair or for artistic purposes. But I only paid $5 for this box, so I think I'll definitely get my money back on it. All right, so here we are. So this is a large pile of various types. That's weird. Of newer and vintage watch bands. Some of these are gold filled, and I can sell those as gold filled bands. Here's a bunch of genuine leather or eelskin or whatever else colored bands for like primarily ladies' watches. I'll sell that in a lot. Then I got various, some of these are pretty clearly fakes. you know, this Elgin might be real, but I'm pretty sure this Seiko is not. We're probably both not. But then I got various other not real valuable watches, some interesting looking ones, but I can throw those up in small lots. And then I've got some really nicer, you know, old vintage from like, say, the 40s, 50s watches here. Varying brands. We got several Elgins. I got some ladies' watches and some tops here, and even some notes from the watch person saying kind of what they are, the condition that they're in. Several older ones, some cool looking Art Deco styled pieces like that. And then I got just a lot of kind of various like pieces for repair, and then even an old copy of a Rolex Submariner. It's trying to look like something from like the 60s or something. Clearly not. It doesn't say Rolex on it. You know, the crown isn't made to look like that. It's just stylized. This is a cheap, probably from China or something like that. It's a battery-powered thing, but from a distance, if I was wearing this, a person might think I had a Rolex on, which is kind of funny. By the way, you cannot sell replica watches of name brands. You can't sell. If I find out that this Elgin is not a real Elgin, I can't sell it on eBay because of counterfeit policies that they have. So I have to do my research. But for $50, folks, $50 for all of these watch things. You know, this stuff, when I fill it up with some more stuff, might sell for $10. Depending on the weight of the gold filled bands, I'll get about somewhere around maybe $1 per gram off of that. I have no idea on these. And then some of these I can put in small lots, maybe even some of these individually, but I definitely think I'll make money at the end of the day. So getting in here, I won't get all of them out, but we've got various glass plates that would go on clocks of varying sizes, all the way down, flat, different thicknesses. And then we've got a various, never before used, of these crystals to go on pocket watches. And so these will all have probably, for the pocket watch crystals, anywhere from $5 to $8 a piece value for people who would want them. I don't know about these for clocks yet. Those are a little bit more specialty, so I'll have to take a look and see, but it's cool to see that. And then down here, as you can see, I have multiple containers of crowns, which is, again, the little knob that you turn, of varying sizes and colors. And they, you know, some of them, and they can look different. They say Elgin on the outside of them. These also have value. People who need replacement ones when they're doing work. These are all authentic. They're originals. And I've even got the original numbers for the part, which is really helpful. This, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with just a bunch of little chains. I'm not sure if this is for jewelry or this kind of came in with it, but you know, got some more crowns here as well. Best Fit brand. And then this right here, which is what they call a glass fitting machine. And I guess you put the, it seems to look kind of harsh, but that's, I guess, supposed to fit the glass down into the piece. And you've got these aluminum dies that can be used. It looks like these have not been hardly used much at all. The condition is fantastic given the fact that these are probably from, goodness, at least the 80s, probably even older than that, but it's down inside of here. You can see that. And for a watch maker or someone who replaces things, that could be a big help. So this is great. I'll probably sell some of these. I mean, these can be sold individually for more money over time, where I can sell them real quickly in a lot. We'll just have to see once I do some research. But everything that I showed you, everything that's in here, everything in the tackle box, everything here that I need to go through and I need to go test to see if any of this is gold and silver, and all of the watches and the bands and the jewelry and the other stuff underneath here. I paid $300 for all of that. You know, I can probably get my $300 out pretty easily, but the question is how much money I'm going to make. And the big question is, was any of that gold? So I need to go and test, and I'll tell you the results. All right, folks, here's the verdict. This stuff is sterling silver, and all of these This is 4 pairs out of the 8 or 9 pairs that I got. 4 of these pairs are in fact 10 karat solid gold, and they come in at about 15.61 grams. If you multiply that times the 10 karat per gram gold price today, which is about 36.75, so $36.75, this right here you're looking at is worth right around $573. So if I just sell this, I've made my $300 of investment back. I've made about 200 bucks profit, and that's without selling anything else that I got. So very happy. We've also got the sterling silver. Probably going to wait and put this with other pieces to sell it for more, but I've still got all of these cufflinks that are just gold filled. Those can be sold in a lot or individually. And then of course, you know, we've got all of the watches, all of the crystals, all of the lures and stuff, and the jewelry and everything else down there. So ended up being a really good haul today. I'm quite excited. Thank you so much, cousins, for checking out this channel, folks. I've still left the link to the fundraiser, the GoFundMe for our area, relief work for Hurricane Helene victims. If you're so moved, please donate to that. I'm going to wait a month or two, get enough collections, and then I'm going to start distributing that, and I'll let you know exactly what I do with it. Good luck hunting out there, and we'll come back real soon. Let's go find some treasures. Rusty, 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 how to? Rusty, 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 how to? Rusty, 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 how to? Rusty, Rusty.